Can you say and spell your first and last name, please?
Artur Pawlowski, A-R-T-U-R, last name P-A-W-L-O-W-S-K-I.
And your title, please?
I'm the leader of the Independence Party of Alberta and a pastor.
What's happening here today?
Well, we have a press conference trying to keep our premier to her words. She was elected by the people like us because she promised that there is going to be an amnesty. She promised that pastors like myself are going to be released from this unbelievable tyranny that we have been living under for the past 3 years. And my question to the Premier Danielle Smith is, are you going to keep your word, or are you Kenny 2.0?
And what did you expect? Did you expect there would have been change already, or?
Well, is that not what she said? I mean, as politicians, if we don't keep our words, then we're good for nothing. I expect the politicians to, for a change, keep their words. We have nothing else except what we promise, what we say. And again, politicians are being elected based on their campaign promises. One of those promises was very clear, that there's going to be amnesty for the people like me. I'm on a house arrest from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., facing 10.5 years of imprisonment for me being a pastor and giving people a message of hope at the Quds border, telling Canadians no violence, no guns, no sword, peacefully. And yet here I am, shackled, prisoner of the state. Why? Because I dare to oppose their tyranny. Why Tyler Shandro is still in office in the capacity of the Minister of Justice, yet caught in this hypocrisy at the Sky Palace? Why the same people are back in power and people like myself are still prisoners of the state?
We heard from the Premier this morning. I guess she has looked into it, asked questions, but ultimately she said she wants to leave it to the justice system, an independent justice system. When you hear that, what do you make of that?
Well, I say, stop playing the game of politics. It was the politics that got us in trouble. As you remember, the former Minister of Justice, K.C. Madhu, said it clearly for the whole world to know that this was political, it had nothing to do with science, and here we are. So if what they've done to us was political, well, the politics can set us free. So stop playing this game, because it's not funny anymore. You've promised. And this is not interfering with the justice system. This is just directing the Minister of Justice, telling him, hey, this is not in the best interest of Canadians. And the likelihood of conviction is almost zero. I have done nothing wrong. If I'm guilty, then you're guilty as well right now, because probably your views are not the same as my views. So we disagree. What happened with the notion of agree to disagree? Is that what we want in our beloved Alberta? Is that what we want? To have a nation that will have thought police hunting you down, government and their power to arrest people that they disagree with? I mean, where are we going to stop? Or how far are we willing to go?
Did you and many others, are you frustrated that that no change has happened on these commitments?
Of course, for me, nothing changed. I'm still a prisoner of the state, and I was hoping that Danielle Smith is different. I mean, it's not that she was riding on the bus of freedom or the train of freedom. We voted for her because she promised. Keep your word, or please leave the office and let us elect a person that will actually keep their promises.
Where do we go from here now?
Well, election is in May. As you know, I'm going to run to become the next premier of this beautiful province. And I'm telling you, I love freedom, and I want freedom for all, not just for the elites and not just for the ministers of the Sky Palace. I want the freedom for every Albertan. It's God and state given right.
Can you talk about just the pastor and then the others involved in the Quds border? Can you just kind of tell us a bit about them and kind of their role in this?
Well, first of all, when I was invited to come and conduct church services for the truck convoy, I did them in Calgary, no problems. Police was there. There was no breaking of the law. I went to Milk River, invited there. The RCMP was there, no issues, no problems. I delivered a church service. We were worshiping God. We had the Lord's Supper. I went to the RCMP officers and I asked them, can I go to Quds? Believe it or not, the RCMP opened the barricade and they let me to Quds, where I conducted another church service for the truckers right there. When I arrived, the roads were open. When I left, the roads were open. But I'm the only Canadian ever to be charged under the Defense Act for interfering with the crucial infrastructure. The Crown Prosecutor is accusing me of causing Canadian economy over $400 million worth of damages for my 19-minute speech to the truckers. What did I say? Stand up for your rights. Is that not what you want? Or you want a Nazi state or communist state telling you you're not allowed to broadcast this interview because we say so? Or you want freedom like we used to have? And that's what I was hoping Danielle Smith is going to do. Well, I'm not delusional anymore. I understand, I get it, Danielle. I understand you are a Kenny 2.0. We're not going to have hope with you. We need to change this government. UCP has fallen. UCP did this to us, and UCP has to go.
Anything else you'd like to add or mention that'd be important to know?
Well, I'll say I don't believe the lie of splitting the votes. There's more of us, those that actually love freedom, than them that hate freedom. So we can actually do this. History is showing that the underdog, or the David against Goliath, won multiple times. We are a French minority that has become the majority. I say vote for the right kind of people that will actually defend you and will keep their words.
And now she's saying she kind of leave it to the independent court. Do you feel kind of like abandoned, like from her promises or commitments? Like, did she go backwards, you know?
Oh, 100%. Again, she was elected based on those promises. I have friends within the freedom movements that voted for her because she promised what she promised. And here we are today. The same thing. I've heard that from Kenny. I've heard that from the others. Now I'm hearing the same thing from Danielle Smith. So what's changed? Absolutely nothing. We're dealing with corrupted politicians that are not willing to do what they promise that they're going to do before the election. And now I hear, okay, I'm going to do it when I'm elected in May. Well, what do you see on my forehead? Stupid? We're not going to fall for that a second time or a third time or fourth time. You know, when you lie to me, when you do this to me, well, shame on you. But if I will believe it, if I will believe you the second time, well, shame on me.
Will you be doing more events like this, more rallies moving forward?
100%. We're just starting. We have to put, first of all, the information out for the people. Also, we need to put pressure on those corrupted ministers. Again, they broke the law. If I'm a criminal, so are they. Tyler Chandro, Travis Taves, copying, all of those devils. Casey Madhu that was caught interfering with the court system or with the ticket. We know the story. If I'm a criminal, they are double criminals. If they were caught for partying, you see, I was not caught partying. I was caught saving lives, feeding the poor. As you know, I received over 40 COVID tickets for taking care of those that no one else wants to take care of. Is that Canada? Is that the nation you want for your children, where you cannot go and feed the poor because of fear of being arrested? That was my 16th arrest. I was taken down by the RCMP detectives and a SWAT team as El Chapo of Alberta, Al Capone of Canada. And again, what have I done? What is my crime? Oh yeah, I dared to oppose the government narrative that I believe is not based on science. And that's not according Pastor Artur Pawlowski. That's according Casey Madhu, that is the deputy premier right now. You can't have it both ways. Choose what kind of a nation you want for your children.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, can I ask a couple of questions? My name's Lisa Johnson. I'm with the Edmonton Journal.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, you obviously heard Danielle Smith's comments this morning when she was asked at the news conference. You're familiar with what she said, right?
Well, that she's living up to the courts. However, the courts have spoken about the pedophiles, release them on bail. The courts have spoken about murderers, released on bail. The courts have spoken about people caught with guns off on bail, and yet I am on house arrest. You see, Casey Madhu said that everything that was done to us was political in nature, had nothing to do with science. Well, if it was political yesterday, well, then the solution can be political as well. It's not in the best interest of Canadians. She can sign the document saying, or direct the Minister of Justice to drop the charges. She has that power. And it's the likelihood of conviction for my speech, for my sermon to the truckers is almost zero. I'm not guilty. I'm not a criminal. I have no criminal record. I have beaten every charge before, which was over 340 charges, over 100 court cases and 16 arrests. I'm going to beat this one as well. She can set me free. She promised that she will set me free before the election. If politicians cannot keep their words to those that elected them, well, I demand her to step down from her office. Obviously, she is not capable of doing what she promised. She's not the right person in a position of power if she is not willing to keep her words.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that she promised that she was talking about fines related to COVID, to breaking COVID mandates. She didn't think it was right that people who had been fined for breaking COVID rules should be fined, and she wanted to drop those fines. But some of your charges are a little bit different, right? Like the Critical Infrastructure Defense Act.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this.
I don't know
why.
if she made that specific promise. Did she?
She said that she's going to meet with the pastors and that there's going to be amnesty and there's going to be recompensation. I never had a meeting. Actually, I talked to the pastors. They never had a meeting. So she did not keep her words towards the pastors. There has not been amnesty done. I had to face my court for feeding the homeless just a few weeks ago, if you remember. And I won, but not thanks to Danielle Smith and her keeping her promise. Also, where is the recompensation? I won the Court of Appeal. I was in prison like a bloody criminal, in metal cages like a dog, isolation, stripped naked. Have you ever been stripped naked by strangers? Well, it's no fun. It's no fun being in a little metal cages. And excuse me, for what? What have I done? I dared to oppose the status quo. I dared to oppose the political narration, even though her own deputy premier says it had nothing to do with science.
And can I ask you just some background questions here? You're obviously leader of the Independence Party. How many candidates have you officially nominated? Do you know?
Oh, we have every single seat. The party is growing like a wildfire. Everywhere I go,
nominations?
yes, we'll have every single seat.
Oh, you will?
Yes,
You
we
plan
will.
on it. Okay.
Oh, we have candidates already. And we're going to have every single riding filled with a candidate. And of course, we're going to focus on the key ridings that we really want to tackle. And I believe Albertans are being presented with the opportunity to have a party that will actually work for them. Not for the globalists, not for WEF or whatever.
Do you know off the top of your head how many members you have?
Oh, we got thousands and it's growing every single day.
Yes.
We got constituencies opening left and right. Like we actually have a hard time to keep up with the demand. Everywhere I go, there's hundreds of people showing up.
I want to ask you too, because you mentioned Casey Madhu and his phone call to the police chief, which we know, a report said that was an attempt to interfere in the administration of justice. So I'm wondering how you feel about Premier stepping in and giving amnesty or dropping charges. Isn't that the same kind of interference with the administration of justice? Wouldn't you be concerned about that if it was somebody else?
So if you are charged as an innocent person, who is going to come to your defense if not the elected politician that swore to defend your rights? I am an innocent. I am a targeted individual, a victim of this tyranny. And I demand my politicians to do what's right. If the politics got me in chains, the politics can get me out of the chains.
The court date, your next court date is set for
2nd of February.
2nd of February. So
In
it's a long time
Lethbridge.
to wait.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's
close.
2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.